The Ghostwriter's Gambit. Chloe lived her life in the margins. From her cramped Brooklyn studio, she wrote other people's stories, inhabiting their triumphs and tragedies for a fee. Her current project was the memoir of a reality TV star whose most profound life event was a botched spray tan. As she typed, Chloe's own novel, a half-finished manuscript about her family, sat in a forgotten folder on her desktop, a ghost of her own ambition. The email arrived like a lightning strike, an offer to ghostwrite the memoir of Serena Cruz, the high priestess of wellness whose brand, Simply Serena, had captivated millions. The advance was more money than Chloe had ever seen. Their first meeting was in Serena's Soho loft, a sterile white space that felt less like a home and more like a high-end cloud. Serena was flawless, radiating a calm that felt both aspirational and intimidating. The interviews began. Serena spun tales of a difficult past overcome by clean eating and mindfulness. Her stories were perfect, cinematic. Chloe found herself drawn in, wanting to believe in the narrative of the self-made woman who had manifested her own destiny. She recorded hours of Serena's smooth, confident voice, the words flowing like a well-rehearsed script. In a coffee shop, hunched over her laptop, she met Finn. He was a documentary filmmaker with kind eyes and a camera bag permanently slung over his shoulder. He was working on a film about the curated realities of online influencers. When he learned what Chloe did, he was fascinated. "You're a professional empath," he said, and for the first time, Chloe felt seen, not invisible. Chloe poured her soul into Serena's book. To give the story texture and truth, she excavated her own life. She wrote about the crushing grief of losing her father to a sudden illness, transmuting her own raw pain into elegant prose for Serena. She wrote about her own battles with anxiety, lending her vulnerability to a woman who seemed to have none. The book became a mosaic of Serena's life and Chloe's heart. The first draft was a triumph. "You've captured my voice, my very soul," Serena gushed over the phone. The editor was ecstatic. Chloe felt a dizzying rush of validation. Her words, her feelings were powerful, but the praise was directed at a mirror, and she was standing behind the glass. One evening, Finn showed Chloe one of Serena's most popular videos, a day-in-the-life montage of green juice, yoga on a sun-drenched balcony, and inspirational quotes. "Nobody's life is that frictionless," Finn observed quietly. Chloe felt a prickle of defensiveness. "You don't know her," she said, a little too sharply. While fact-checking a chapter on Serena's humble beginnings, Chloe hit a wall. A quick search of public records revealed a truth that shattered the carefully constructed narrative. Serena hadn't grown up in a struggling single-parent household. She was the daughter of a wealthy Connecticut surgeon. The entire foundation of the book was a lie. She confronted Serena, who, for the first time, let the mask slip. The serene facade crumbled to reveal a sharp, calculating ambition. "The truth is boring," Serena said, her voice cold. "People don't want real, they want relatable. You took my story and you made it breathe. We did that. We're a team." The word "we" felt like a cage. Chloe walked with Finn along the waterfront, the city lights blurring through her confused tears. She told him everything. He didn't offer advice. He just listened, then asked the one question that cut through the noise. "Forget her story for a minute. What's the story you want to tell?" The book's cover was revealed online. "Untamed Spirit," the title screamed in elegant gold script, by Serena Cruz. Chloe scanned the press release, the marketing copy, the blurbs. Her name was nowhere. It was as if she had never existed. Her most intimate pains were now packaged and sold as Serena's wisdom. The betrayal was a physical ache. Every time she saw the book advertised, it was a fresh wound. She had been more than a writer. She had been a donor, giving the blood of her own life to animate a stranger's beautiful lie, and she had been thanked with erasure. Finn came over to find her sitting in the dark, silent. He didn't try to cheer her up or offer solutions. He simply wrapped a blanket around her shoulders, sat on the floor by her chair, and stayed with her. His quiet, unwavering presence was an anchor in the storm. While boxing up the project files, her hand brushed against the digital recorder containing the raw interview tapes. She paused, a thought igniting in her mind. It was a dangerous, terrifying idea. A ghost's gambit. For the first time in months, she opened the file for her own novel. She deleted the first page. Then she started writing, the words pouring out of her with a fury and clarity she had never felt before. She wrote her truth, the story of what it costs to tell someone else's story. She crafted a long-form essay, meticulously detailing her experience. She embedded transcripts from the recordings, contrasting Serena's polished on-the-record lies with her candid, manipulative admissions from their private conversations. It was undeniable proof. She was about to hit send to a journalist when fear paralyzed her. Serena's lawyers would destroy her. Finn saw her hesitation. "Your voice is the most important thing you have, Chloe," he said. "Let people hear it." He set up his camera. "Let's tell them together." She sent the article to a renowned investigative magazine. The next few weeks were a blur of fact-checking and legal vetting. It was harrowing, but with each verified fact, Chloe felt a piece of herself being restored. The article, titled "The Ghostwriter's Gambit," was published and detonated online. It was the #1 trending topic within an hour. The story was everywhere. The carefully built temple of Simply Serena began to shake. The fallout was swift. Sponsors dropped Serena, and her publisher announced they were reviewing her contract. Serena posted a tearful video from her white loft, but the cracks in her perfect facade were too deep to hide. The authenticity she sold was proven to be a fraud. An email landed in Chloe's inbox. It was from a top literary agent. "Your article was stunning," it read. "The world needs to hear the rest of your story. Have you ever considered writing a memoir?" She began to write her book. It was the hardest thing she had ever done, revisiting the pain and betrayal. But this time, the story was hers. Every word was a reclamation, every sentence a step back into her own life. Finn's documentary, The Woman in the Margins, which now featured Chloe's journey as its centerpiece, was accepted into the Tribeca Film Festival. Their lives, once parallel, had beautifully merged, built on a shared passion for the truth. At her book launch party, the room buzzed with energy. Friends, family, and even the journalist who broke her story were there. Chloe stood at the podium, holding a finished copy of The Ghostwriter's Gambit. Her name was on the cover, bold and clear. Later, walking home, Chloe and Finn's hands were intertwined. The New York City night felt full of possibility. She had stepped out of the margins and into the center of her own page. She was not a ghost, not an echo. She was the author, and this was just the beginning.